Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network, and we are going to have Danny Smith tonight, and we're on a broadcast. And let's do this. Let's remind folks that if they want to go join the group on Facebook, we've done 12 podcasts and more coming, of course, weekly. But if you want to go over to Facebook, go to Power Hour Broadcast, Danny L. Smith, and you can join up. We'll add you. It's a public group, so no big deal. And there's about 12 cool podcasts on there. And tonight on Power Hour, we're going to talk about John Maxwell's book, No Limits, Blow the Cap Off Your Capacity. Danny, John Maxwell Certified Coach, take it away, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Hurdy. Thanks. I'm struggling where to get started in this book. We're just going to do some highlights of it. This was a book I read this past spring. It was part of a series that I picked up. I first read John's book, Intentional Living, flowed right exactly into No Limits, went into 3 other books right after that. You can see the list on my reading blog on my website if you're interested in any of that. But this book, No Limits, Blow the Cap Off Your Capacity. I've got 5 books sitting beside my desk, beside my chair, my living room. This is one of them. I just keep picking it up and picking it up. It's got so many nuggets in it. But tonight we're going to do a book point, what I call book points, and we're just going to kind of go through it pretty rapidly, hit some things I felt were important. But anyway, John breaks this book into 20 parts over 3 sections. The sections are awareness, ability, and choices. And you have to have an awareness, John says, to remove the caps from your capacity. Then you have to have an ability to develop the capacities you already possess. And then you have to make choices. Do the things that maximize your capacity. Man, Hurdy, I told you I was going to try to go through this and not ad-lib a bunch, but man, that's some good stuff. You think about productivity and time management. You think about David Allen's Get Things Done, Stephen Covey's First Things First, Matt Pearman's What's Best Next, and all these other people. This right here, do the things that maximize your capacity. We've talked in the past, I don't think we've done a podcast, a show on it, but remember the 13 choices successful people make.
You do.
So, and then John's final chapter is Your Life with No Limits. So, this is a must-read for anybody that is trying to grow themselves, grow their business, grow themselves out in front of their business. And I'm a grow myself out in front of my business type of person. I've got to stay out there. And I tell you, sometimes the capacity thing, trying to blow the cap off of my limits, it hurts. So, John, I'm just going to start going through this. Hurdy, if you want to stop me anytime, go ahead. But awareness. Okay. We have to, John says change doesn't have to be drastic to be effective. And it doesn't. I've made using some techniques he has in here, I've made some changes in the way I plan out my week, plan out my day, review my day. John talks about awareness here, and I go back to his the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth and the law of awareness. This book had got me back into those growth laws a little bit more. John says change is necessary for you to reach your capacity, of course. And your capacity isn't set. You can become aware of the possibilities that can make you better. That's really, really interesting. You can become aware of the possibilities that can make you better. He says our perspective colors our view of the world, other people, and life. But it's also true that who we are determines how we see ourselves. We naturally tend to see things as we have always seen them. If you want to increase your capacity, you must see differently. We need to be willing to look at ourselves and our world in new ways. We need to pay attention and look for what we need to know. You know, one of the things that just drives me nuts is if somebody just instantly rejects something without considering it. 97. Yeah, I've quoted a quote that 90% of everything we think, psychologists say, and organizational behaviorists say, that 90% of everything that our thoughts each day are repetitive. I don't have it in front of me, but it's in a book called If, and I've got the notes in that. I don't have the book in here, but that it's actually 97%. New studies, 97% of our thoughts every day are repetitive thoughts. Man, if we want to grow, we want to reach new levels, we've got to change our thoughts. We've got to consider what other people are saying. We've got to grow. So back to John. Recognize your value and increase your capacity. Recognize your value and increase your capacity. This is the point in the book where John talks about a book called Living with a Seal. And incredible book. I don't even know where to start on this book. It's about a man that was pretty successful. He was doing ultramarathons. Loved doing them. Ran into a Navy SEAL. Didn't know who the guy was at first. The author's name is Jesse Itzler. Itzler and 5 other guys was doing a 24-hour relay. Another guy doing the 24-hour run, was doing it by himself. And he hired that guy that in the book, it's called, they only go by the name SEAL. He hired SEAL to live with him for 30 days, to fly to Manhattan, live with him for 30 days, and train him to help him reach new levels, blow the caps off of his capacity. Incredible book. That's one of the other. That's another book laying beside my chair, and I read that book in, I think, June, and totally changed my workout, changed my mental attitude. He says that 40%, that when you think you've reached your capacity, when you're out on a run, you're lifting weights, you're exercising, you're doing Zumba, whatever it is that you do, when you think you've reached your capacity, that you're done, you're only 40% there to what your body is willing to do. And it's a mental game. Won't go into some examples I've had of that in the last 60 to 90 days. But so moving on into the section about ability. Develop the capabilities you already possess. There's an energy capacity, and that's your ability to push on physically. Part of that, what I was saying about SEAL. Emotional capacity, your ability to manage your emotions. Thinking capacity, your ability to think effectively. Here's a highlight I've got. Once an idea has been put on the table and approved by a key group of people, it's time to take the idea out and let more people see it. You learn a lot when you present an idea to people who don't know you or who won't automatically give you the benefit of the doubt. It's always easier to think an idea than to practice it. Something powerful happens when a person moves from believing in an idea to owning an idea.
Yeah.
Believing in an idea can be good, but it's very limiting. When you believe in an idea, it's like investing in an endeavor with someone else's money. You give it a try and hope it works. However, when you own an idea, it's like putting your own money into an investment. You do what it takes to make it work. The greater the investment, the more you feel it has to work. This exercise, back to the SEAL, some stuff I was doing this summer, and with a little bit of a wager, no money. Oh yeah, there was no money. There's some stakes on the that we bet on. But with my brother, it has to do with push-ups. And let me tell you, not so much the stakes, but just the desire to beat my brother. My thinking capacity, it expanded. And when I expanded that thinking capacity about what I could do, it changed my whole energy capacity, my physical capacity. Anyway, John, back to John. People capacity, your ability to build relationships. Creative capacity, your ability to see options and find answers. Production capacity, your ability to accomplish results. Boy, that's
It's powerful.
got so much highlighted in that on these pages. Let me say, when you want to accomplish something, you have to have a vision for what you're trying to do, but you also have to be willing to take action in the face of uncertainty. You need to tap into your thinking capacity to know what you're shooting for, but you also need to have a bias for action to be productive. You have to be willing to take a step, probably a small step. That's the mindset you must have to become more productive. Leadership capacity, your ability to lift and lead others. So that was the abilities. Let me turn back to the, under the abilities, the capacities that you already possess, just need to develop are energy, emotional, thinking, people, creative, production, and leadership. Then we get over to the choices. And here we have 10 capacities in that. So under choices, we have the responsibility capacity. In other words, it's your choice to take charge of your life. Character capacity, your choices based on good values. Abundance capacity, your choice to believe there is more than enough. Discipline capacity, your choice to focus now and follow through. Intentionality capacity, your choice to deliberately pursue significance. Attitude capacity, your choice to be positive regardless of circumstances. Risk capacity, your choice to get out of your comfort zone. A couple of things I want to highlight here is risk is rarely comfortable. It requires us to get out of our comfort zone. John goes on to talk about everything rises and falls on leadership. The size of the leadership must be equal to the rise of the task. This is one of those areas that we have to build ourselves, I believe, out in front of where we're at today. We've got to be building our leadership capacity, learning leadership, learning how to lead, learning what leadership is made up of, reading books, listening to podcasts, listen to Audible about leadership, so that when we're in a leadership mode, we're in a new area, we have something to grab hold of. If you're prepared, John says, if you're preparing to take a big risk, it may require every leadership skill you possess to accomplish it. Don't take that lightly. Keep growing as a leader. The more you increase your leadership capacity, the more you increase your potential to risk capacity. Now, the next capacity is growth capacity, your choice to focus on how far you can go. Say that again. Growth capacity, your choice to focus on how far you can go.
Wow.
A person's capacity is limitless, and our desire should be to explore how far we can stretch it. Some of the most significant things in life take a great time and effort. The joy of the journey towards them comes from the new discoveries we make along the way. Failure is not an enemy. Failure can teach you valuable lessons. That's one of the things I've learned from John Maxwell, one of the many things. Failure is not an enemy. Failure can teach you valuable lessons. While failure is inevitable, learning is optional. Failure helps you develop resilience or endurance with direction. You can use your failures to teach others. You have lost your fear of failure when you're not afraid to share those failures with other people. The last capacity is partnership capacity, your choice to collaborate with others. Big chapter. I've got all kinds of notes in here. We don't have time for this today. Maybe we'll hit some of these chapters by itself, Herdy. Yeah. But those capacities under choices that we make are responsibility, character, abundance, discipline, intentionality, attitude, risk, spiritual growth, and partnership capacity. We make choices. I missed the spiritual, didn't I? Where'd the spiritual go?
Got to be there.
Yep. Spiritual capacity. Your choice to strengthen your faith. Boy, is that a good one? Your choice your choice to strengthen your faith. Bonnie John ends the book with your life with no limits. And he says, and I'm going to finish up with, the conclusion here. He says, he finishes up with some takes from a interview, a conversation with a well-known radio personality. Doesn't say who it was. That personality said, that radio person said, John, you built your reputation on the foundation of being passionate about adding value to people. Do you add value to everyone? John says, of course not, but I believe I can. And he goes on to say, why do I have great faith in people's ability to make their lives better, to make positive changes, to increase their capacity? Because I've experienced all these things myself, and I know that if I can experience them, others can too. That includes you. As you finish reading this book, I want you to know that I believe in you and I believe in your ability to reach your capacity. All you have to do is follow the following formula. Awareness plus ability plus choices equal capacity. If you're aware of yourself and your ability to improve, and if you develop the abilities you already possess, and if you make the everyday choices that help you improve, you will reach your capacity. I hope that you now realize that your life need not have limits. As long as you're breathing, you have choices to go and ways to grow. You can improve, you can do more, you can make a greater difference. It's all within your reach. My hope and prayer is that you will seize it. I like that you will seize it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. That does have a lot of stuff in it. All right, I got attracted to one statement you made tonight that I wrote down and stuck with me. You ready?
Yep.
Change does not need to be drastic. To improve.
Well, you got stuck on that right at the very beginning, I believe. Yeah, right at the very beginning.
But that's not what we're taught. We've always been taught, boy, I've really got to change that, or that's a big, you know what I'm saying? We don't realize that small things can really make a big difference too, right? So that really got my attention. I meant to focus on that a little bit.
Yeah, Herdy, I think it's the little bitty things. I think it's such little bitty things.
Subtle little steps along with choices. That makes total sense. Total sense.
Just like if you were going to do 1,000 push-ups in a day, you wouldn't do 1,000 push-ups. That's a big deal. Okay.
Right.
You would do them spread out over the whole day.
Over 2 weeks.
Just a few at a time. What'd you say?
Right. I said over 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
But that's the goal, right? That's how you start. Right?
Yeah. In that book, Seal, Living with a Seal, Eichler, there's one day he did something like 800 pull-ups. but his arms were about to fall off, but he was doing just a few at a time, and then he rest and do some more. But he's doing little bitty things, to reach a big thing. And I don't know, I kind of relate things. I mean, it's the little things that you do. I park, as you know, way out in a parking lot and walk in. I walk upstairs. It's little things that we do. And I was trying to find that in here. here we go. Change doesn't have to be drastic to be effective. Change your focus from your weakness to your strengths. Be on the lookout for where you need to change your focus to become more aware of your potential.
Right. Wow. Interesting. This is a good book. I mean, this is something we ought to focus on a couple chapters of this, Danny. I kind of like this. This is kind of nice. Yeah, this gets a little bit deeper into the level of having to understand your actions. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, right here he says in this area where change doesn't have to be drastic to be effective. He says, as you read through this book, and especially while reading this first part on awareness, be on the lookout for where you need to change your focus to become more aware of your potential.
Yeah. Yeah. And then maximize that time. Wow. Yeah. See, that's the key. You got it. I like it. You are right. It did mess me up. Thank you.
Yeah, this book keeps messing me up.
You know what? I have to say, growth is messy. Growth is messy.
Oh, it's messy. I was telling somebody right about 10 minutes before we got on the call. He called and said, I know you get ready for your call. I said, what are we going to listen to tonight? And I said, No Limits. And he goes, oh, what's that about?
Ooh, yeah.
I said, well, it's about something I guess I picked these things to talk about, and I think it's always something that I'm struggling with and need to talk about, need to read through. So a few days ago I decided this is what we're going to do tonight.
Hey, Danny, you had mentioned earlier in the podcast, and I'll put it up there, but for those people just listen and won't read anything, why don't you tell us, before we get off here, what your website is, where they can find it? Because you didn't say the name. You just said go check out my website. What is the website you want to direct them to?
DannyLSmith.com. Be sure to put the L in there, DannyLSmith.com. If you go there, it's got some stuff that some blog posts that I've written over the years. There's about 600 blog posts on there. There's also some links to some other blogs and stuff that I have. You want to see what I read? There's a reading blog there. You go back to early on, and I would put a lot of notes in there about books. Now I figure if I ever get to retire, I will go back and update the blog out of the notes in the books. Awesome. This right here, I think actually this book here, I might have put some stuff in there. DannyLSmith.com.
And is there a worksheet on that book after we go through a couple chapters? Do you have the worksheets for that?
I don't.
Okay, that's fine.
I haven't developed any of it yet, though I should. I should, yeah.
Well, we got plenty to do. There's a little, we'll get to it. That was good stuff. All right, man. Thank you.
All right.
Good.
Have a good evening. Thanks, everyone.
You too, and hope everybody enjoys the On Demand. And remember, guys, we do this every week on Monday night at 5:12 live. So come join the Power Hour with Danny L. Smith, and we'll give you all the information during the week on Facebook. So just pay attention and look forward to this On Demand. Danny, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Herdy.